Hooray! Welcome to episode 25 of Nobody Should Listen to This with Jimmy Trueslacks. This is the first video episode. Very exciting times. I've managed to figure out this minor audio setup, which is kind of embarrassing because I've been playing music for a long time, but figuring out the audio interfaces and having it all work and sound good is not my highest strength, I would say. Yeah. Thanks for joining me today. Today we're talking about a pretty heavy topic. It came up in one of my men's groups that I'm partaking in these days. It's part of my, healing regiment. It's my medication for depression and anxiety as I meet with strangers and I tell them my deepest, darkest secrets and something really, really healing about that. So I would encourage you all, if you've ever considered therapy at all, something about a group of strangers, very powerful. So I would recommend you all dive into that if you're looking to go on a healing journey of your own. I've been on one for, going on 10 years now of coming to grips with, life, death. What is my purpose here? Am I fulfilling my purpose? If I'm not, how do I figure out what it is I am supposed to do? So I was like really diving into all that stuff, different modalities. I struggled with being on antidepressant medication. That was really, really difficult for me to use, and I know it's certainly an acceptable and people need intervention with drugs. I just prefer to try different drugs. So I did mushrooms instead. And then that was a great experience, integrating the mushroom experience into my life. I actually think it kind of sparked an idea of what my purpose is, right? And your purpose doesn't always, the expectations of your purpose are the real problem, not what you think you should be doing. It's the expectation that it changes the world or something that will make you feel like you've fallen short if you are, just doing what you love, and maybe you don't feel like you're getting recognized for it, and that you expect recognition for serving your purpose. So you feel like you're falling short or you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. But anyway, yeah, just today, not to spur away from the topic. The topic today that I really want to discuss is I'm in my 40s. A lot of my friends' parents are in their 70s, going into their 80s, their late 70s, and so what I wanted to talk about was, it came up in my men's group, like I was mentioning earlier, is death. Yeah, we're all gonna die. So, have you thought about that? Do you tuck that away somewhere else and, use your addictions to distract yourself from coming to grips with that? Now, I'm only going to share my experience because, I definitely never want to be sounding like a preacher. I just want to share my experience. Perhaps this might help somebody down the road who comes across this video and hears it at the right time, and it connects with them. I'm definitely not saying anything novel that hasn't been repeated by many people throughout time, in books that you read, in stories that you hear, the shows that you're watching. There's a lot of wisdom, but I guess the reason feel like I should share is because sometimes the right voice at the right time for the right person can change the trajectory of somebody's life, which is what happened to me. It was just listening to the right voice at the right time to get me to start looking into healing a lot of wounds I had tucked away and was hiding because I didn't know how to deal with them. I just didn't know how to deal with them. It's not something we're taught. We get some surface level stuff, but not really deep healing, self-healing, understanding our bodies, how they work, the chemistry that goes on when thoughts arise, and when you attach an emotion to a thought, it becomes a very, very strong feeling that turns into your personality trait. But that really isn't how you have to be. It's just you've now attributed an emotion to a thought, and then now that's who you are. When really that's not really how it has to be. You have control. You have free will to change the emotion or detach the emotion completely from that thought. I mean, that's what I've been going through, and so this comes up in my men's group. It's death. It's my parent, like one of my co-members of this group was mentioning how he doesn't think his mom is ready for what's coming, which is like inevitable death, and that he's worried she's going to be so scared and it's not going to be comfortable for her, and then that makes him think about his own death, and that just reminded me of like me going through that whole, okay, what happens? Am I just gone? Is that really what happens? Because I don't like that. It certainly doesn't resonate with me that I'm just gone. And I grew up Catholic, and I don't call myself a Catholic. I'm not a part of any religion. I don't go to a church. I feel like I am extremely spiritual, and I do believe in a grand power. I'm not sure it's as described in a Bible or in other religions. There's a lot of wisdom in religion if you take the good messages that are there. I think religions fall short when the answer is outside of you. I think the answer is inside of you, and I think that God is in us and all around us, whatever you want to call it, energy, source, God. It's palpable. I can feel it. I can feel when I really get into a good breathing meditation. I can feel a hug of love from the universe. That's how I would describe it. It feels really nice, and I've been doing a lot of it. It's my medicine. It's instead of a pill, I do that. It's not hard. All you have to do is lie down and breathe. There's nothing else to do. It's actually one of the easiest things to do, but people are very resistant to lying still and giving them what they need, which is a still moment without absorbing media or watching something, whatever you're consuming, eating, like anything that you do to distract yourself from thinking about your own death. Yay, death. Okay, so getting back to the topic. I keep getting sidetracked, but I have a lot to say. Getting back to the topic is death. So what helped me was I found this rabbit hole on YouTube, and it was near-death experiences, and then I found another channel on Spotify that had a lot of interviews with people who had near-death experience and how that went for them. And then I listened to another podcast with a guy. His name is Dr. Jeffrey Long. I believe he's either a neuroscientist or a neurosurgeon, or both, but has also dedicated his life, him and his wife, to logging. He has the biggest log of vetted people that have had near-death experiences, and has like this big catalog of like, the overlap of the experience and how similar they are, and then some differences, of course, some personal differences in how that experience transpires. But it was it's so It's such a relief, and it resonates with me. So I feel like, oh, okay, I don't really have to worry about dying. The hard thing is the people we lose from this realm. So the near-death experience is almost like the overlying arc and overlapping themes that everybody experiences is that when you die, it's one of the best feelings in the world. Like it's undescribable how much unconditional love you feel, how less dense it is. It's very light. You're just light. You don't necessarily lose your sense of self. You still are you. And you remember that you are a spirit first, and then you came here to have a different experience. Then when all you feel is love all the time, and the weight is lifted, it's hard to, the experience comes in polarity. So another part of the NDEs is that they find out that they've incarnated here on a like they had something to do. We had something we wanted to do. We had something we wanted to experience, so we came down here to do it. Down in, I guess you would call this the third dimension. And when you die, you're just graduating to another dimension. There's a lot of science quotes that say energy cannot be created or destroyed. So it just it changes form. So we are full of trillions of cells in our body. They all generate a little bit of energy. So we have we're just balls of energy, manifesting through photons and light. Let's remind everyone, I am not a scientist, so if I'm falling short for all of you academics out there on terminologies about neuroscience or anything like that, I don't have any education in that. What I do have, I have a YouTube education. I listen to a lot of smart people talk about it, so I'm absorbing that information as best I can. And maybe I'm not describing it properly, but to me it was so comforting to listen to these stories. So I would encourage you all, if you ever wanted to, remove yourself from distraction and just see, contemplate how you feel about death. How do you feel about it? Maybe you've already experienced a lot of death in your life and it's crushing you. And you can't, maybe you've experienced the death of one of your children. I mean, nothing would be worse than that, than having, a child die on you, knowing, even though or I would say I know, even though I'm in this like, oh, nothing, death is awesome. Even though I do resonate with that it's going to be a really freeing experience, and that you're in no more pain. Like there's no pain, there's nothing to fear. So even though I feel like I know that, if I lost a child, man, just to be left behind is the real difficult part of living, is, having people you love leave physically and you can't hug them and touch them anymore. But once you kind of understand that they're in these near-death experiences, their loved ones are always around them, watching them, cheering them on, helping them in ways that the living we don't really see or understand. And it could appear on the from the outside looking in that it's, something transpired that was like difficult and hard on you, but it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to you. I think this is what our loved ones are doing. They're guiding us in a direction that I think is going to help us serve our purpose. So it's up to us to kind of flow and get out of our own way. And as I say all this stuff, and part of the reason I do this podcast is to listen to what I'm saying, because I'm not always taking, I have great advice, but I'm not always taking that advice, and it's good to listen back and hear myself say things that I'm not even living or doing, I have to remind myself, and it's hard to stay on practice, take my medicine, as I say, like when we're in the depths of February, it's minus 20 every day. It wears you down. There's not enough sun. If you're not lucky enough to get away and go somewhere sunny to get that vitamin D that you need and that reprieve from, the depths of the cold winter, it can wear you down, and it wears me down. And, I woke up this morning, it was minus 20. I drove my daughter to school, and I was just like, I am so tired of this. I'm so tired of this. But as I'm saying it, I have a lot to be grateful for. I have a warm home to come into to avoid the cold. There are some people out there that do not have this luxury, and they're, struggling big time if you're homeless in Canada in the winter. No bueno. So yeah, I got to take my medicine. I gotta do the things that make me feel better. So that is, I listen to binaural beats. If you look that up on Spotify, binaural beats, they're just two different frequencies, one in each ear, and they create a harmonious balance. It's called heart-brain coherence, and it's generated through sound, and it gets your brain waves and your heart in a rhythm that just feels really nice. I mean, I guess if we're thinking about near-death experience and the feeling of love that they describe, I mean, when I'm meditating and I get into that breathing, heart-brain coherence pattern, that's how it feels. It feels like really just like a loving hug from the universe. On every cell of my body is getting like this big hug of love. It's pretty nice, and I've become quite almost addicted to doing it. If I have the time, and as a self-employed painter and handyman, that's how I make money. The winter is a bit slow, so I have way more time to practice than compared to busy seasons like the spring and summer and fall. So those are harder to squeeze in as much as I'm doing now, but I've been, I really get enough time, and I'm grateful that I do have enough time. Not everybody feels like they have enough time. That's something else that, near-death experiencers, when they come back from their experience, they remember that their life is, their time here to serve their purpose is limited. It's finite. And although, if you're lucky enough to live to your 70s, 80s, seems like a long time, but I've noticed I waste a lot of time. It's just when you start thinking about it, you're just like, okay. I mean, just look at your phone. Your phone tracks your time, and we waste a lot of it. And then we tell ourselves that we don't have time to serve our purpose or do the things that we're passionate about because we're either fearful of judgment or who knows? Who knows why we distract ourselves from doing the things that we actually want to do. I know I struggle from this too. I have lots of grand ideas, and I have lots of things I want to put out into the world, creative projects that I get afraid. I get fearful sometimes of like, what if, nobody's going to like it, and then it's going to make me feel bad if nobody likes it, and if I don't get feedback I want. So this is where the expectation, if you attach any expectation to what you believe your purpose is, you're going to fall into this fearful, maybe I shouldn't do this. I need to protect myself from judgment. So I should probably not put this out. And I got some great advice from, this is like, again, why I do this, because somebody might need to hear it at the right time. But I was listening to a podcast, and it wasn't novel information. It wasn't something I hadn't heard before, but I just needed to hear it at that time. And it was to do the thing. Who cares if it sucks? Who cares if nobody likes it? Who gives a shit? It doesn't. That is not the important thing. The important thing is that you're doing what you believe in your heart is what you should be doing. And our ego and our fear get in the way of that. So, like me doing this right now. You know how long it took me to get the energy and put away my fear of what people are going to judge me for what I'm talking about on this channel? I mean, it's why I named it. Nobody should listen to this. Don't. But the reason to do it is not an expectation of somebody needing to give people advice and change their lives, and I need to make this happen. I don't need to, but just like that podcaster did for me, they just put their creative thoughts into the world. I heard it at the right time. I'm so thankful that person did that. So if that happens on this channel, great. If it doesn't matter, because that's not the point, as I just talked about. The point is to follow your passion with zero expectation of the result being good, bad, whatever it is. So yeah, I mean, I would encourage everybody to check out Dr. Jeffrey Long's work. Listen to, go find a channel. Just type in near-death experience in Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts, or on YouTube, and go down that rabbit hole. Kind of explore your feelings about it. See how you feel about it. If you are older and you are listening to this and you feel like you haven't really explored that, you're in your 70s, and even though maybe you feel great and you could be here for many more years, or you don't, and you are starting to fear, getting that fear. And fear, there's nothing worse than fear for your immune system. Living in fear is the worst thing for your immune system. Let that sink in. We are assaulted every day in this world at this time by external forces, depending on how much of that we consume. But if you are watching TV or listening to the radio, you are being assaulted every day with why you should be so afraid. And if you allow that to enter your body, you're not giving your immune system much of a chance to fight off sickness, disease. So I would say start to be, I had to do this. I had to really be mindful of what I'm consuming. So visually, audio, visual, food, and really have gone on a self-healing journey that is really helping. It's making me feel better. I know it is. I can feel my shift. I can feel my ability to respond and not react. I can feel that I I can hold space when others are struggling and not make it about me. I'm getting better at that. I'm becoming a better listener. And so, yeah, go down that road. You know, look into, maybe you feel great and you don't need this. And you listen to this anyway. Who cares? Doesn't matter. We're all where we are and right where we need to be in the moment that we're in. So with that, I guess that will be it for this episode. I think that's a pretty successful first video episode. Hopefully I can get this uploaded no problem and there's no issues, and just means I can keep rolling along with another episode a little sooner, hopefully, than later. But I don't really put a timeline on it for myself. It's just do it when I feel like it. So thanks for joining me, and we will see you next time. Oh yeah, this is going on my YouTube channel. I have a bunch of original music on my YouTube channel that I just put out into the world and share, and get over my own fear and just put it out there. So they're available down below. Please check those out. Like and subscribe to the channel. And if you wanted to listen to the other episodes of Nobody Should Listen to This, they are all on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Episodes 1 through 24. They are not video. I'm going to try to upload this video episode onto Spotify. We'll see how that goes too. And until next time, I bid you adieu. Look into near-death experiences. Listen to them. They're very, very helpful. Share them with your friends. Share them with your family members. Have them listen to them. I just really think everybody could benefit from listening to other people's experiences of what happens when they died. Take care, everybody.